Welcome back to the Level Up and Live podcast for business owners and emerging leaders who want more than just growth. They want clarity, direction, and purpose. I'm your host, Sean Meyers, and my mission is simple: to empower business owners to design a life they don't regret without sacrificing health, relationships, or spirituality. We do this through the Level Up and Live Mastermind, built on 5 pillars: accountability, clarity, support, guidance, and community. Today's guest is someone who helps business owners get unstuck. Plain and simple. Bryce Moore is a professional EOS implementer and helps entrepreneurs and their leadership teams get clear on their vision, gain traction through discipline and accountability, and build healthy, aligned teams that move in the same direction. He's a husband, a dad, a leader, and someone who's been firsthand what happens when business owners stop trying to do it all alone and start building systems that actually work. Today, we're going to talk about the power of alignment, the danger of isolation, and how to move from chaos to clarity in business, leadership, and in life. Bryce, thanks for joining me, brother.
Thank you for that introduction. I need to record that and listen to it every morning. That was phenomenal. I gotta take on my day.
Put it on repeat.
Yeah, exactly. That was awesome.
Well, let's start here, man. Walk us through your background. Tell us a little bit about who Bryce Moore is and how you first got connected in the world of entrepreneurship and eventually into EOS.
Yeah. So my father was an entrepreneur. I grew up in that world. I worked in his businesses. He was a very visionary type person. The issue we had was not the vision, it was more the execution. And so I inherited some of that. I guess it's a blessing, a little bit of a blessing, a little bit of a curse, but ton of vision. I know where we can go. I'm excited about it. But charismatic, charisma only takes you so far, and then you actually have to do it. And so kind of living in my dad's world there, I took all of what I learned from him and went into ministry with it. Kind of thought I was going to be, the next big thing. I was going to fix all these problems in these churches. Turns out, again, you can't have enough charisma to solve problems. You actually just have to have systems. So pretty frustrated in the way that the things were working in ministry. And somebody handed me a traction book. So started reading through it, and the team started using some of the tools, and I was there for 5 years, pretty frustrated. Well, I was there for 2 years, pretty frustrated. And the subsequent 2, very excited about the growth in the ministry, what we were able to accomplish, taking what was my vision and turning it into, this is cheesy, but traction, what we actually wanted to accomplish, and then seeing the impact we wanted. And though that isn't one-to-one with a business owner, it's still taking people energy and turning it into the vision that you're looking to accomplish. And so that was really compelling for me. That ministry, I still serve on it occasionally, but I don't lead it, and it's still growing. It's still thriving because those tools are evergreen. They work because they involve people, and people haven't changed that much over the last million years. So I was kind of in my experience.
For those that may not know, our listeners and our viewers, break down EOS in simple terms, what it actually means, and what is it, and why does it matter for business owners trying to grow? Why should they listen?
Yeah, it's great. So EOS is a model of simple tools that help business owners get 3 things we say: vision, where we're going, how we plan to get there; traction is the accountability and discipline to make that vision happen; and then healthy, because a lot of times leaders don't work well in team. They don't work healthy in team. And so kind of just quick breakdown, there are 6 key components that we're going to focus on. And what we say is entrepreneurs, leaders, people who manage nonprofits, we're all wrestling with 132 things at the same time. And what we would say is those 132 things are symptoms of 6 key components not working the way that they should in a business. And so once we employ some of these tools, we start to see those 132 things go away because they were symptomatic of things that we just needed to focus on. And EOS is a lot about focus, setting great goals, getting great people, and all of the books that we've read, the business books for the last 100 years, they all tell us what we should do. And EOS suggests this is how you do it, the practical method of you should hire better people. It's like, thanks. how do I do that? Like, great. I should also make more money. Yeah. So it's getting into the how do you do that?
Man, we've actually implemented EOS. I don't know how we stumbled upon it years ago. And I told you this behind the scenes before in the mastermind group. It just kind of fell into my lap. I think I was just searching for answers, just with like a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs. They're searching for answers. And especially if you hit that pain cave and you're just year after year after year, and then you don't experience growth, you experience contraction, and sometimes you even go back in revenue. So it can be very demoralizing. So I was searching for answers here in the last 4 or 5 years, and I came across Traction by Gino Wickman. And I didn't know there was implementers like you that went through the process. I just picked up the book and just started, filling out the PDF.
Yeah, good for you.
Tell me eat a bag of rocks and I'll eat a bag of rocks. So I was just following the process. And I don't even know if I've implemented it. I probably haven't implemented it to the full capacity of what it is, but it's really helped me out just in putting in the vision, the mission, the core values, and getting clear on that. I don't know how many. I've got probably half a dozen templates on filling it out, and it's changed and evolved in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm curious with you, man, what would you say some of the most common issues you see inside businesses and working with these leaders before they bring the EOS, before the Entrepreneurial Operating System in, and how do you help teams turn that chaos into really clarity on where we're going with this thing?
Yeah. Compliment for you. You're phenomenal with your words. Very good at that. So I just thought I'd throw that out for free. So I would say it's kind of the joke we make is there's 6 key components, and they're all people. So it's all tools for people. This is a system for managing human energy. And so what we see a lot is, especially with, I don't want to pick on this group, but especially with businesses who are getting over that $1 million kind of hurdle, that $1 million, we hit this moment where we can no longer work harder to get more. We have to delegate. So you cannot work if you go from, you have bad example. Well, an insurance company. Let's say you have an insurance company. You would know better than this. So keep me in line if I get out of line. But you have a book of business of $100,000. You can. Insurance is probably a bad example, but you can go and get yourself that $3 million book. You cannot work hard enough to get a $50 million book. Is that right or wrong? Am I right or wrong in saying that? What do you think, Sean?
You're right. Yeah. You only have so much time, energy, and effort during the day. So where is that energy spent? Yeah, you're right.
100%. So getting to this point where we now have to delegate. And so delegation is that first hurdle. And once we get good at, you said core values, and one of the things you were saying, one of the things that I see is culture attracts great people, and it attracts the right people. So that's one of the biggest hurdles is warm body syndrome. You just have people, I just need somebody to do it. You're like, yes, we are parlaying a present problem for a future one. This person is not a right person. They do not belong in your organization. And it has nothing to do with them being evil or they're just not right for you and your culture. And so the quicker we can understand and discover what is it that makes your culture specific to you and who you want to attract to be a part of it, all of a sudden delegating makes a lot more sense because we're giving things that are important to us away to people that we trust, who we believe can do it as well as we can, at least to 80%. So I would say delegation is one. Simplifying is huge. Complexity grows in entrepreneurial organizations exponentially. And so you go from one person to 2 people to 3 people, and all of a sudden, all the stuff you used to do that just lived in your head now is spreading across 3 different people who don't really know the right and best way of doing it. And the communication falls apart. And then you just end up right back in the driver's seat doing the thing again. And then what happened to my dad, and this is maybe, a little vulnerable, but he would get to that ceiling and then he would realize he didn't have a way of communicating his culture. And so the head count would drop back again just to me and him, because we didn't have a way to go, well, I don't trust anyone, so I'm just going to do it. And then obviously revenue, profit, those drop because like you said, you don't have enough time in the day to get to a number of revenue that you probably could. So I don't know. Those are some thoughts. I'm kind of rambling, but
So somebody listening to this are like, oh man, that Bryce, that's me. He's speaking exactly to me in his business and in entrepreneurship, and even maybe a sales leader. They can't relinquish that control, and they like, whether they're a micromanager or recovering micromanager, and they're managing this everything, and it's not allowing that person that they hired in the first place to actually do their job and what you're speaking through. I'm curious, when you sit down with that, what would be that person listening to this? What would be one tip or advice to help them overcome that person to really turn the profits around and help them essentially relinquish or give that autonomy to that person to do their job? When you sit down with that person that's listening right now, what would be that one piece of advice?
Yeah, so kind of the tool we use, or the idea we use, is the Jim Collins idea of right people in the right seat. And so taking some time, taking a clarity break, taking an hour and thinking about your team. I would say discovering those core values. What are the 3 to 5 things that everyone in the organization has to have to be a part of who you are? And then just going through each one of them and just honestly going, does this person exhibit my core values? So we believe they're a right person. Now we look at the right seat. So what are the 5 things in their seat they have to do really, really well? What are their 5 roles? Do we believe that they get it? They have the genetic ability to do that. They want it, and they have the capacity. They have the history to accomplish it. Well, if they get it, want, and have the capacity to do it, and we believe that they resonate with our core values, then we found a right person. Pat yourself on the back. And now let go of the vine. Let go, let go, let go, let go. The cheesy story in the book, which I call it cheesy. It's a good story. But entrepreneur falls off a cliff, on the way down, grabs a branch, grabs a vine. And in a brief moment of religion, prays and asks, is there anyone up there? And here's a booming voice say, yes, do you believe? And he says, yeah, sure, I believe. Let go of the vine. And then the entrepreneur looks up and says, is there anyone else up there? It's like, there comes a point where there's no other option. You can't crawl yourself out. You can't fall down. You just must let go and trust that people can do what you've asked them to do. And the hope is, if we do a really good job of defining right people in right seats, they'll be able to do it better than you can, especially with the time given. So I don't know if that those are the things that we dive into in a session, but it's uncomfortable. We have a whole day devoted to getting to this point, to commit to, if I want to grow my business, I have to let go of some things and trust that people are going to be able to pick it up. So
that's really good, man. I couldn't agree with you more. And I feel like I would have cut off years of headache, mistakes, failures if I would have had somebody like an implementer at Traction, like you, Bryce, to hold my hand through that process and just not give me validation, but give me, hey, it's going to be okay, creating a safe place for me. First, and have somebody speak into me that is in alignment with, hey, look, there's 2 roads to travel. There's the road that you can continue to go down, which is most traveled, not relinquishing control, not allowing this person to do their job, micromanaging every their move. There's a reason why you're experiencing the cog in the wheel, the rat race, doing the same thing over and expecting different results in revenue and growth and retention, whatever it may be. Let these people that you hire do their job, and having somebody that can go through that process with you, man, I think is a game changer. So love that you share that.
That's true. Of course.
Now, EOS is built around 6 key components that you had mentioned earlier. So vision, people, data, issues, process, and traction. I'm curious with you, Bryce, which one, working with business owners and entrepreneurs and leaders, struggle with the most, and why do they struggle with that?
Not to be redundant, but it is people. It is people. So when we look at our organization, there's a tendency to look at people in a way which we hope they would be this way. We would hope for them. We make concessions for people. We put them in places that we wish they would be able to accomplish, and then over time they prove that they can't. And I just want to say again, there's this, a lot of times I deal with a lot of like Christian entrepreneurs, and there's this feeling of, but I want to help this person. Yeah, buy them a coffee. Like, I don't know, go hang out with them. But that doesn't mean like be in their business, like put them in your business. Like those aren't necessarily, so having some of those boundaries where the assumption that I need to help somebody by giving them a job is actually like maybe the helpful thing would be to release them and you can serve them in a different way. And so I think people's like, it's all people at the end of the day. I think one that maybe is a little bit on the nose is the scorecard. So really getting down to, so we have this simple tool. It's called a scorecard, KPI. It's been called a bunch of things. But the idea is I want 5 to 15 activity-based numbers that produce a P&L that I'm excited about. So these are not lagging indicators. These are leading indicators. These are activity-based numbers. And that can be really challenging to come up with. Okay, well, I want this thing to happen. So I need to work backwards and go, okay, what do I need to do and be accountable for to produce that outcome? And one of the just typical ideas is sales. So I know if I know my sales metrics, I know that 100 calls produces 10 proposals, produces 2 new clients. So great. So what's the number that a salesman needs to own every week? It's 100. And if there's any issues with that 100 not getting to two new clients, well, then we can solve those issues. Maybe that our team isn't as good on the phone, but the measurable itself, we go, this is the right measurable to produce the result we're looking for. And so we're going to drive this measurable, make sure we have a goal associated with it and a person to own it. We say it takes between 45 minutes and 4 to 5 months to really love a scorecard that produces what you're looking for. But I have a good friend in Tex Flooring. He's a sales manager there. And he's like, Bryce, I know what my P&L is going to look like every month because I know what my sales team's doing. And you're just like, wow, that's really compelling. So those would be a few things.
2 things to that. I know knowing what your P&L and knowing what's coming in as far as leads and output and that's peace. When you said that, my resting heart rate went down a little bit because that's versus the ups and the downs. I don't know what's coming in this month. I don't know what's going out this month. And it's because, like you said, it's who's managing those systems, who's managing those deliverables, those KPIs, the outputs. And that's typically what it falls back on. The second thing to that is with your friend, and I don't know if you have a story working with business owners and entrepreneurs, and I know I've ran into this in the last 10 years, is when you have these KPIs and these metrics and these deliverables, yes, we know that that's collecting that data, but that can get cumbersome. The first month, okay, yeah, this makes sense. The second month, third month, but doing it year after year after year, it can get mundane. It can get cumbersome. You can get fatigued. You can get exhausted. But that's the separator. That's what I have learned. It's the separator. It's the ones that continue to show up and do what they need to do. I'm curious with you, how do you have that conversation with these business owners and entrepreneurs that, hey, yes, been doing this for 6 months, 12 months, implementing this, but my team, I'm seeing a friction. I'm seeing demotivation because it's all about the KPIs. It's all about the deliverables. I know a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders that are in sales roles that they're tired of entering in the data. They're tiring of doing the same thing over and over and over. And they know it's going to get them to where they want to go, but man, they're just fatigued. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would just say then it's not working. It's not working, right? And that's one of the lines that we read every time is if you don't like your scorecard, it's not that the scorecard's not working, you're not working. And it's just a commitment to, and that's harsh, right? People are like, wow, that hurt my feelings. But it's a commitment to, if these numbers matter most, they're the most important numbers that are going to be if your comp strategy is built on these numbers and they matter the most, if you look at somebody and go, hey, that vacation you want to go on with your family for the first time and take everybody, it's 100 calls, big guy. Like it's 100 calls. Like there's tying a reality of someone's life being changed based on 5 to 15 numbers that I know I can hit, keeping accountable with them to produce the result I'm looking for. I would say if you don't love a scorecard, if it's becoming cumbersome, it's because purpose makes pain possible. So if this is purposeless, then the pain of it, you're like, why would I go through this pain? I have no purpose in this thing. But you see the purpose of, look what it's producing. If it's not getting you what you want, and that's the question we ask all the time, what do you want? What do you want? Getting to what you want and then working backwards into what we have to do is kind of, that's the progression.
Man, that's really good, Bryce. I love that you share that, really tying it to the purpose, because a lot of times when we get fatigued, exhausted, And then this kind of goes into my next question of isolation, because a lot of when we get when there's friction, there's frustration and overwhelm, what do we do as human beings, human nature? I don't care if you're a salesperson, emerging leader, business owner, we tend to go in isolation, and there's seasons for that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I know at my insurance company, one of the biggest things is it's easy for our guys that have been with me for 7, 8, 9 years, and they go in isolation. They've been doing the same thing over and over, and they've been producing all these results. We've hit these missions and these milestones and these achievements. And it's like it never stops, but that's life. It's eating. How do you get a fit body? You eat this in rhythm. You eat the same thing over and over. Chicken, rice, your calories below the non-excess.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with training. It's the same thing with business. It's the same thing with marriage, going to church. You can't just go to church once a month and expect your spiritual life to be fulfilled. No, you got to do the same thing. And man, even myself, like, I'm a strong personality, and it's even tough for me. So I'm like, how does everybody else around me do this? And the answer is they don't.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to talk about it. Me and you on the podcast today,
Good. The
people listening to this, and not to isolate yourself, to feel empowered and challenged with each other, a friend, over coffee, a mastermind group. And that's what I'm for. That's what I believe in, is because it's not if, but when you get knocked down, who's getting you back up? Who's challenging you? Who's leveling you up? So I'm curious, man, a lot of business owners experience isolation, clearly.
Yeah.
They're leading, but they're lonely going through this process. And I know you've worked with them. You've probably experienced it yourself.
Oh, yeah.
How have you seen that impact businesses, and what can they do to break that pattern? Somebody listening to this, they want to know that.
Yeah, it's vulnerability. I think it's the last thing we want to do. It's truly believing that other people are experiencing a similar thing and finding a group. And to just call out level up. Like, there's no one in there. That was the reason I wanted to join. It's the reason I did join. There's a vulnerability and desire to grow that is really evident. And the moment I would say, so I come from a Christian background. What I would say is the enemy's role in your life is to keep you isolated and ashamed. If he can get you there, man, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. And business owners are no different. I'm the only one who struggles with this. Look at all my friends dealing with comparison. And then you step into a moment with your friends and say, hey guys, revenue's down, and we may not be able to go on that vacation I wanted to take my wife on, and I'm pretty ashamed by it. And then somebody immediately pipes up and goes, yep, that was me 2 years ago. You're okay. You're right where you need to be. You're killing it. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm not alone and I'm not ashamed. Now let's go do some work. Like, that was easy. So all it took was a brief moment of vulnerability, and all of a sudden a year of performance and striving and frustration just goes away because, you confess to frustration, and then your friend told you that you're okay, and then you just keep moving. I wish it was more complicated, because you'd have be able to write more books about it, but it's pretty simple. Just tell the truth and move on. I don't know. That's it's been a lot for me. So
yeah, you hit the nail right on the head, and it's magical. It's in most people, yet most people don't do that. And why? That's what I spend my time exploring. It's because of ego. It's because of pride. It's because of 100 other different reasons. But it's in those moments when you're vulnerable. Hey, you know what? I have been through the pain cave this last 12 months. I don't have all the answers. I'm tired of feeling like a cog in the wheel. I'm in the rat race. I need to be able to reach out and go down the road that's less traveled, but down the road that somebody has been down, because they're coming back and they're going to pull me in that direction, whether that's in sales, whether that's in health, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in spirituality, whatever it may be. I'm just being a student of the game, learning from those that have been doing it longer than I have, and that are where I want to be in life. And I think that is what life is all about. And I think that's what being a child of God is to me, is learning from that and correcting course along the way. So appreciate you sharing that perspective on that, Bryce.
Yeah.
We nailed it.
Yeah.
When you think about your legacy as a leader and husband and an implementer at EOS, what do you want people to remember about how you showed up and served others?
Man, if I can get back to you in about a month when I've figured that answer out. This may not be right, but it's what I'll say right now. Servant, just served us, wanted our best in mind. And even for my family, like that's, even this morning, I'm convicted by that question, just because I'm like, woke up, all I was thinking about was business. My kid isn't feeling well and my wife's taking care of it. So just, I say servant and then I immediately don't do it. So something to work toward. But servant would be what I would hope to be. I saw a quote that resonated is, if you're too big to serve, you're too small to lead. And so just the idea that that's what opens people up to the most breakthrough is to see someone serving, caring, genuinely attempting to do something for someone else's good. And so that would be my hope as a legacy.
I love that, man. And Bryce, one of the things I've gotten to know about you, I just appreciate who you are and how you show up in building this relationship with you. And I've actually thought about you a couple of times here recently. I know you were coming on the podcast today and you're really doing these hard things. I feel like you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're getting comfortable, getting uncomfortable, and you're putting yourself in these scenarios, and that's stretching you and that's challenging you. But I just want to commend you for that, because that takes courage, my friend. That's the Holy Spirit working through you, and people behind the scenes have noticed that about you. The key ingredient is to continue to show up and align what we say as men and as leaders with our actions. And it's not always easy, is it? But I notice me and you, when we get in the same room, where we're on a podcast, or whether it's a Level Up the Mastermind group, or even over coffee, it's by empowering each other, challenging each other, and giving each other mercy and grace to help each other level each other up and be that 1% better than we were yesterday, and really get into that untapped potential that God has called us to be. So the beautiful thing about it is, and I got the biggest smile on my face right now, is this is a lifelong journey, right? We don't have to get this overnight. We can correct course right away. It's a choice. It's a decision. And all of our listeners and audience and viewers have that decision within them as well to do that. So thank you for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Man, you've been nothing but insightful, valuable today. Really has showed up, leaned in, been vulnerable with some of the stories that you've shared, and helped all of our entrepreneurs and business owners. How can our Level Up and Live community help you, brother?
Yeah. Who are the people that you know, business owners, that maybe be frustrated, maybe not hitting the profit they want, people, control, stuff like that? Would love to talk with them. Love to send them a book. Just any way to connect with them, help them. Help first is kind of one of our core values. So help first, and if it's helpful, then great. That'd probably be it. LinkedIn, stuff like that. Yeah, connect with me there.
And we'll have those links in the show notes for any listeners and audience. Reach out to Bryce, man. He's one of those guys you can go to coffee with, and there's just something about him that just hits different. You know, I've been with coffee with a bunch of people, and with Bryce, it's kind of like, man, it's just the conversations just are natural. You know, maybe it's your ministry, maybe it's the Holy Spirit. I don't know what it is, Bryce, but I just feel safe around you.
That's sweet. That's sweet. I'm just trying to take your money. That's all. I'm just kidding.
At least you're honest.
Yeah. At least you're okay. Good. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
And for our listeners, I want you to take one piece of this conversation and run with it today. Maybe it's redefining your vision. Maybe it's building accountability in your team, or finding the right people in the right seats. Or maybe it's finally surrounding yourself with people who sharpen you. We'll drop Bryce's links in the show notes again so you can connect, learn more about the EOS system, and see how he's helping business owners gain traction and lead with clarity. If you got value from today's episode, please share it. This is how we grow. Subscribe and leave us a review on what you liked about the show so we can keep helping leaders like you level up in business and life. Until next time, stay focused, lead with clarity, and keep leveling up without losing yourself. Thanks again, Bryce.
Of course.